I'm looking at the news sometimes and I think, what, is it the 60s again? What's going on here? There's so much weird stuff happening. There's so much weird attitude happening, too. People are acting very strangely. And I don't know what that's a sign of, exactly. Things are weird in this day and age. This is Best Shot here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240. This is your show. You can call in. 423-800-8949 is the number to call in. That's 423-800-8949. Hit us up on Facebook and Twitter, too. That's Hot News Talk Radio on both of those respective mediums. Check us out on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone and the Bloom Sky app, too, if you want to check out the weather. Bloom Sky on your smartphone. I'm looking at our Twitter account right now, and something got me kind of steamed, I got to say. And if you know me, you know I'm a laid-back guy. I'm a very laid-back kind of guy. If you're listening at 6, yesterday I was on Clutch with Keon Rose, 6 last night, I should say, and we were having a ball of a time. Great show. Love being on with Keon. He's a cool guy. I'm a cool guy. Together we make a collective, very cool show. And you know I'm a chill guy when you hear me on there. And not much really gets me mad. I'll be quite honest with you, because I can let things slide. I've dealt with very obnoxious people in my time in radio, and there weren't many of them, thankfully. But the people I've dealt with who were very obnoxious ground my gears, yeah, but I didn't explode at them or anything, because I can, for the most part, control myself. But one thing I gotta say that drives me nuts to no end, and there are very few things, but one of those things is forcibly making people do something against their will, obviously. And one thing that is being looked at in the House, it's a new House measure, and we just tweeted about this on Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. So check out that tweet. Check out that tweet. Maybe you can read along the article with me if you want to. It's from the Daily News, New York Daily News. There's a new House measure here that will require women to register for the military draft. Now, wait a minute, because that means if you're familiar with the draft which men sign up for, you know then that it happens when you turn 18. As soon as you turn 18, you get a little card in the mail that says sign up for the draft. And if you don't, we'll penalize you for a certain amount of money, or we'll send you to jail or whatever, even though people have not actually been prosecuted for that since the 80s. And we didn't have a draft actually for a while. Nixon, believe it or not, got rid of the draft. And then Jimmy Carter brought it back. I don't know why. I think I'm getting the facts on that right. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can call in 423-800-8949. Again, that's 423-800-8949. No, it's not a 1-800 number. That's just the number the phone company gave us, because I guess they like us. It's a nice number, easy to remember. 800-8949. How hard is that to remember, right? So in Washington, women would be required to register for the military under a House committee's bill that comes just months after the Defense Department lifted all gender-based restrictions on frontline combat units. Now, that's something I take exception to as well, because women are a precious thing, right? Or thing. They're not objects. But women are extremely valuable, and I believe totally, for the most part, in gender equality, right? In the sense that there is no legal difference between a man and a woman, right? You do have the same exact protections that I have under the Constitution, right? Women have the First Amendment protections. Name any amendment, women have that protection, and that's really cool. We have a mostly egalitarian society in that sense, I suppose. And you would argue, too, that, well, okay, because that is the case and men have to sign up for the draft, it's actually called selective service, but it's for the draft. You then, under these pretenses, women should also sign up for the draft. But hold on. The draft is not a protection. The draft is a taking away of your rights. So why then should women also be subject to this? This is an injustice that's done to men. And now they want an injustice to be done to women, too. And like the Twitter account says, I don't know who the guy is who does our Twitter account, really angry guy, but I do have to say I agree with him. He says, we'll never allow my daughter to register for draft. Our young men dying for nothing. Now leftist pigs want your little girls. And that really is what it is, because if you don't believe in the cause of whatever the current war is, why should you be forced to engage in it? Now, you can make all sorts of arguments about cowardice or fighting for your country or what have you, but when it comes right down to it, should somebody be coerced into doing something that they do not want to do? No, really. Unless they've done something wrong beforehand, like committed a crime, then they're coerced into going to jail against their will. But this is after a long legal process. There's not a long legal process that goes into you being drafted. And heaven forbid a draft does come up and suddenly we're all called to go to war against whoever. Russia, maybe, probably not. China, possibly, probably not. I can't think of any country, major country right now we would need a draft to go to war against. Mechanized warfare has really helped us out in that regard. But still, say there's some theoretical war with a major power and the draft is called upon. Do you want your daughter going to war because of that draft? I don't care what your sense of patriotism is. You have to feel a pang when you hear that. If I had a daughter, I'm thinking of my little sister. I have a younger sister. And if she turns 18 and she gets a little card in the mail that says sign up for the draft, that's inhumane to the utmost degree. That is a animalistic, barbaric thing to do to somebody, to force them to go to war. Now, there is a lot of honor and valor involved in volunteering to go to war. I'm not saying that people who go to war are animals or are barbaristic or anything like that. Not at all. They're not barbarians. They're not animals. They're human beings, and they've sacrificed a lot. And I'm not denying that. By no means am I saying that. But being forced into it, where's the nobility in that? Where's the honor in that? You're being forced into doing something that you have many objections to, and they'll say, well, you can do a conscientious objection. Yeah, good luck for that. Conscientious objector. You're still being forced to work for the machine, right? Like, what if you object to the idea of a standing army, for heaven's sake? And now you're being forced into it. It doesn't make any sense. Well, this is Best Shot here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Check us out on YouTube, actually. We're live streaming on YouTube. You can go to YouTube and you can see me on YouTube wearing my Big Brother's Watching You t-shirt that a good friend of mine gave me. It's a cool shirt. I like it a lot. Go to Hot News Talk Radio on YouTube and you can watch us streaming live here on Hot News Talk Radio. And also, we are on the web. Go to hotnewstalkradio.com. You can listen to us streaming live there. On our Twitter, you can see all of our tweets. On our Facebook, you can see all of our Facebooks. I don't know. Go to TuneIn Radio. You can listen to us on your smartphone. The TuneIn Radio app allows you to listen to us on your smartphone. 423-800-8949 is the number to call in. What do you think about draft? Is the draft in and of itself an immoral thing? I know there are a lot of veterans here in Chattanooga. Lots of very brave people went off to fight in various wars, and they're from us here in Chattanooga. They're among our population here, and certainly those are very brave people. But the draft, to me, seems like a whole nother thing, especially because it affects people in an age group that I'm very familiar with. Young people, 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, that age group, all the way up to 26 is when you stop having to have to sign up for the draft. So 18 to 26, that's a long stretch where you are forced to sign up for this government service, if you want to call it service. You're signed up for this government forced indentured service, I guess. It's entirely different from signing up, right, on your own. It's entirely different from enlisting, in my point of view. Because, again, it's not coerced out of you. If you enlist, you're doing it of your own free will. You're doing it as an action that you understand the risks of. You're doing it because you want to. You're doing it out of a sense of patriotism. You're doing it out of a sense of duty, honor, family, what have you. Whatever your reasons are. I don't really care, honestly. I care about the individual story, but in this sense, I really don't care what your motives are for signing up. But then being forced into it is a whole nother thing. It's inhumane. The United States has not had a military draft, of course, since 1973, back when we were still in Vietnam. But all men, of course, have to still register for the selective service within days of turning 18. Most people don't, actually, though, believe it or not. Military leaders maintain that the all-volunteer force is working and the nation is not returning to the draft, which is true. Military professionalism has caused a much better outcome in military conflicts. It's been proven, actually. Professional military tends to be a lot better than a drafted military. So that's a good sign for us who don't want to be drafted. That's certainly a good sign. But again, there are people who are arguing for a draft. People might surprise you, actually. Charlie Rangel, who is a noted Democrat, by the way, very famously Democratic, very famously very liberal, and of course he's a right to be those things. He's a gentleman from New York, I believe. Let me Google him real quick. Charlie Rangel, who's of course argued for the draft. Congressman Charles Rangel from, I'm wanting to say, New York. Yes, representative for New York's 13th district, member of the Democratic Party. He's the second longest currently serving member of the House of Representatives, serving continuously since 1971. So he is himself familiar with the Vietnam era, the draft era. But for some reason, he has made arguments for a draft. And this goes all the way back to 2015, March 19th, 2015. He wrote for The Hill, calling again for a military draft and a war tax as well. Now, I thought the Democrats were the party that was supposed to be all about, anti-war, very green, very liberal, which to me, when I hear liberal, I think anti-war. That's the first thing that springs to mind is these are the guys who protested war. So why is Charlie Rangel, a noted Democrat, arguing for a draft and the imposition of a war tax? Don't we have enough taxes already? Well, no, he's a Democrat. Then again, so do more Republicans too. They want most taxes. He is a Korean, obviously props to him for being a Korean War veteran. That's an honorable thing. He says, I know the toll war takes. As we said in a statement way back in 2015, his draft act would open the draft to women and require everyone between the ages of 18 and 25 to register for the selective service system. Sound familiar? That's what we're having proposed now. Now, let's say that this is just a proposed thing, because that does appear to be what it is. It's just a proposed thing. That's if this House committee's bill is actually signed. And I'm not sure if there is any indication that it actually will be signed. Although, interestingly enough, another Democrat is supporting this. This is Spear from California, another Democrat, saying she supports Hunter's measure, saying, I actually think if we want this in this country, if we want women to be treated precisely like men and treated like they should be, then they won't be discriminated and shouldn't be discriminated against, and we should be willing to support a universal conscription, she says. So this is all presumably in the name of equality. But this, again, doesn't make any sense, because this is equal punishment, essentially. This is like these guys have to be shot in the foot, so women should also be forced to be shot in the foot too. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's all about control, of course. We know that, right? We know that it's all about control, because that's what it is. It's all about getting people to sign a slip of paper so that at some point, somewhere down the line, they can get you in the military where you can potentially be shot and killed for what you don't support. Imagine if there was a draft during the Iraq War, which is a very, very unpopular war at the time. You remember when it started up. The Iraq War was not very popular at all. It's still not very popular. Now, that doesn't take anything away from the people who fought in it, but what if you were forced to? Not of your own free will. You're forced to fight in Iraq. And the same thing goes for Vietnam, and that wasn't right either. And I've talked to many. I know my dad knows plenty of Vietnam veterans. A lot of my family fought in Vietnam, and they are not for a draft because they don't want people to be forced to go through what they went through. So why then is Charlie Rangel, a Korean War veteran, wanting the same thing? Now, I will admit I'm not speaking from experience as a military serviceman. I've never done that, and I probably couldn't do that. I'm not cut out for military. For one, I hate authority, right? So that points against me. Another one, I hate uniforms, wearing them. I think they look cool, but I hate wearing them. I was in this, you're going to laugh at me. I was in Civil Air Patrol for a little while, and I hated the uniforms so much. I hated wearing them, and I hated looking the same as everyone else. And there's a lot of reasons why I didn't like it. So it's not for me. But if I get drafted, well, okay, so I'm stuck doing this thing that I hate for a cause that I probably won't believe in, depending on the war. Why? It doesn't make any sense, like I say. Well, there's a lot of heat going towards the TSA, too. If you read the Drudge Report, there was a story about the TSA, about how people are leaving the TSA in droves because of mismanagement and probably thievery, too. How many different ABC news stories have we seen, and NBC and CBS and all the different mainstream news sources? How many different exposés have they done where they've planted an iPad in a bag and had tracking turned on, and it gets stolen, and they find it in a TSA agent's house? I know David Muir at ABC did one where that happened. And that just shows, now that doesn't mean every TSA agent is a thief, but the structure exists that would allow for that, where your iPad could be taken. They can just say, well, it got lost in the luggage. You're trusting a bunch of people who are not most of the time properly trained, who are government employees, to rifle through your bags. And I don't trust government employees to do anything. I don't trust them to go to the bathroom without going all over the floor. I don't trust government employees to do anything. I can't. Why should I? It's never been proven to me that they're good at anything. So why should I trust a government employee to do much of anything? Much less look through my personal belongings when I go flying. And there's an Adam Kokesh video the other day. Now, again, you'll laugh at me because Adam Kokesh is quite a radical, but he does some good stuff. Adam Kokesh on YouTube was doing some interesting experiments where he would ask TSA agents how many terrorists they stopped in the last year. And they can't answer the question because the answer is zero. Any terrorists. Think about the shoe bomber, the underwear bomber. Best named terrorists of all time, by the way. They should win awards for that. Think about the shoe bomber, the underwear bomber. These guys made it on planes. The guy was trying to light his shoe on fire and passengers jumped on him. The TSA didn't do jack about that. Oh, they up procedures. Well, now you can't carry water bottles on planes that have more than X amount of liquid. Whatever, man. Like, that's going to solve. I guess we're all saved. But here's the thing, though. When they take that liquid and they dump it out, they dump it in the same big jar, the same big bin. How easy would it be to just concoct a two-part bomb that conducts and reacts, that reacts when two chemicals are put together and just have the barrel explode, right? I mean, the measures are not safe. There's always an exploit somewhere. Ask any computer programmer. Ask any hacker. There's always an exploit somewhere. I'm taking my knowledge of computers and applying it to security in the physical world because it does apply. There is always an exploit. And we can have the illusion of, well, the TSA is protecting us by inconveniencing us so much. But really, they're not. Because if someone really, really wanted to blow up an airplane, and if someone really, really wanted to set off a bomb in an airport, they probably could. And what would prevent it is probably not a TSA agent, but probably just some guy. Because that's usually how it is. It's almost always just some guy or a cop or an off-duty policeman or someone else, a sheriff's deputy. It's never a TSA agent who stops anything. You never hear about it. Now, probably tomorrow, some agent will have heard that and say, well, we need to stage an event so that a TSA agent can look good, right? Tomorrow, you'll be reading about obscure terrorist attack in obscure airport thwarted by TSA agent. Now he's a hero and he's got a bunch of medals. Whatever. TSA doesn't do jack. And I dare you to prove otherwise. The TSA, bunch of thieves is what they are. That's what they are. They're a bunch of thieves. They steal stuff. All the time I hear about people who go flying and they come back and stuff is missing. I wonder where it went. They even have TSA approved locks that the TSA can get into. The TSA approved locks are the most insecure thing because you can just get into them. They're inept. They're stupid. They're feds. That's what they are. They're all dumb because they're feds. What do you expect? Number call in is 423-800-8949. It's 423-800-8949. Here at Hot News Talk Radio. And those are the two things that get me steamed. People stealing things and people being forced into doing things that they don't want to do. Because theft is something that is the ultimate for me. If something of mine got stolen, and things of mine have gotten stolen. I thought about killing the guy who stole my bike one time. I'm not even joking. I had a bike stolen from me when I was really young. And this is a long time ago, probably statute of limitations is okay on this one. And I seriously thought about murdering the guy because he stole my bike. Now, granted, I was like 10, but I actually seriously thought about murdering the guy who stole my bike. And I got it back, too. A cop went to his house and said, give the bike back. He wasn't even charged with it. I didn't care. I wanted to kill the guy. Theft is one of those things that just drives me nuts. You take something of mine, I get really mad. And not much makes me mad. So the whole idea of a government agency that does almost nothing but inconvenience you and steal your stuff, that makes me really mad. And I'm sure it makes you mad too, because it is an inconvenient thing. It's a ridiculous thing. It's an illegal thing for a lot of reasons too. It's a violation of your Fourth Amendment easily. No searches and seizures without warrants, right? Well, you consented to it, so I guess it's okay. By walking in the door of the airport, you understand that your stuff's going to be rifled through. Yeah, right. Okay. And now we got government being involved in yet more things. Like, for instance, there's this whole issue now with healthcare. And right now there's this talk about how insurance rates could be going up because of different governmental measures. Right? Great. That's what we need. It's ridiculous. And this is a tweet that was just made on our Hot News Talk Radio Twitter account. Now, keep in mind, not everybody agrees with what goes on the Hot News Talk Radio Twitter account. And that's okay. I'm not saying that, I condemn whatever. I don't. Because I believe you can say whatever you want to say. Even if we work in the same company and you say something I don't like, okay, fine. Even if I'm a higher up than you, which is a very rare occasion, and you say something I don't like, okay, fine. You didn't say anything about me. You didn't say anything about my mom. You didn't say anything about my girlfriend, my sister. You didn't say anything about that. You didn't say anything about a good friend of mine. Okay, fine. You say what you want, man. Oh, you have an opinion I don't like? Oh, no. Yeah, right? Like, who cares? Say something I don't like. That's fine. Oh, this tweet's pretty cool. The same State Department that found it impossible to rescue a few Americans at Benghazi now say that it will rescue 200,000 Muslims. It's almost as if there's an agenda. Well, there's a whole lot of talk about Benghazi, by the way, and what it may have been and what it probably was, and maybe it was a CIA operation funneling weapons into Syria. Who knows? It's all a big mess. It's government. Of course it's a big mess. You got the CIA selling drugs to Mexicans. What do you expect? It's ridiculous. Ever heard of Iran-Contra? Come on. 423-800-8949 is the number. Call in. That's 423-800-8949. Call in at the break or whatever you want to do. We'll be back in a few seconds.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your chance to win $124 in cash and $124 in food every week with the Hot News Talk Radio Five Guys Burgers and Fries 1, 2, 3 NASCAR contest. All you have to do is guess who's going to be first, second, and third place in the upcoming NASCAR Sprint Cup race. If you guess it, you'll hear your name live Monday morning at 11:30. Then call AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio to win. Enter your guess right now at Five Guys Burgers and Fries 153 in Hickson, featuring the juiciest 100% all beef, have it your way hamburgers and the most delicious milkshakes in town. Rick Davis Golden Diamonds, 5301 Brainerd Road, Chattanooga. Wimpy's Restaurant in Saudi Daisy across from City Hall. Les's Pawn Shop, 4742 Highway 58, Chattanooga. And Shooter's Supply, 4824 Hickson Pike in Hickson. Enter your guesses now and listen to the race live to win $124 in cash and $124 in food from Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station. Hot News Talk 1240.
I love NASCAR.
Are you heading out of town for vacation? Worried about theft? Worried about sticky fingers? Get peace of mind from Les's Pawn Shop. Store your guns, jewelry, flat screens, even game systems in its secure building on Highway 58. Here's how it works. Borrow a small sum at pawn and put up for collateral your weapons. They're all itemized, they're stored, and when you come back, you redeem the pawn and get your arsenal back in your personal custody, all for just a few bucks. You need cash all of a sudden? Pawn your belongings at their full pawn value and have a sizable sum to spend for life's emergencies. New customers mention this ad and receive the first month's pawn interest-free. Visit us at Les's Pawn Shop on Facebook. Stop in anytime. Call 702-5868. That's 702-5868.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center, downtown 4th and Broad, and in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
MLS 2239. What would you do with all that cash? Listen up, y'all. Ben Phillips here. Home Rate Mortgage. 805-9100. $1,200. That's how much we just put back in a Saudi Daisy family's pocket per month. All they did was pick up the phone. 805-9100. That's 805-9100. Get that quick quote now. 805-9100. HomeRateMortgage.com. MLS 2239. Do you want to achieve the American dream in 2016? Listen up, y'all. I'm Ben Phillips with Home Rate Mortgage, 805-9100. We just helped a police officer purchase his first home in East Brainerd. Now he's grilling and chilling on his back deck. The American dream. You could achieve it with no money down options. Why wouldn't you call? 805-9100, HomeRateMortgage.com.
Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas.
Here comes Dale Earnhardt Jr. He's got third. He's going for second. Earnhardt going for the lead.
The NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is on the Motor Racing Network.
Fox News Talk 1240.
Hear it live on the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR.
Check it out live on Chattanooga's official NASCAR radio station.
Fox News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. A boat burst into flames at the Gold Point Marina in Hamilton County. According to the Sheriff's Department, 6 people were on board. They've all been evacuated and are now safe. It's unclear what started the fire on that boat. Bradley County Sheriff Eric Watson was assaulted and hospitalized when he tried to intervene in a domestic assault case. The defendant is Gregory Mathis, who's 23. He has a lengthy history of assaults. His latest incident occurred on Monday when he was charged with aggravated assault and he was released on $20,000 appearance bond. Before that, he was charged with domestic assault on January the 29th. He's now been arrested again. A manhunt began at the Chickamauga battlefield for a man who crashed a car after a high-speed chase at 1:15 a.m. this morning. The GBI is on scene along with a number of other law enforcement officials trying to find the individual. A shotgun and a handgun were retrieved from his vehicle. And federal judge Harold Murphy, in a 90-page opinion, determined that Hutchinson Medical Center and its trustees owe Erlanger over $36 million. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
What's a woman card anyway? I don't know. I'm not one who's making a bunch of gender arguments and whatever. That's not my deal, man. You know, like people talk about, oh, what do you think about gender? What do you think about gender equality? What do you think about gender identity? I don't know, man. You're asking me for. I will try to figure it out. This is Best Shot here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240 and hotnewstalkradio.com. Hopefully I don't put multiple feet in my mouth today because we're talking about, oh boy, we're talking about women and stuff. That's not a fun thing. I don't have a whole lot of experience with that anyway. Oh boy. The Twitter you can check out is Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. That's Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. Check us out there. Go to Facebook as well. And you can listen to us streaming live on the website, hotnewstalkradio.com. And if you have a smartphone, of course you do, go to the TuneIn Radio app, and you can listen to us streaming live on the TuneIn Radio app. Just search for Hot News Talk Radio on TuneIn, and you can listen to us streaming live there on TuneIn. Just search for Hot News Talk Radio. You'll have it. The call-in line is 423-800-8949. Call in, dude, 423-800-8949. Many people, according to the Boston Globe, are now seeing a misdeal in the woman's card remark. And I'm not so much going to make an argument about whatever Trump said versus whatever Hillary says, because honestly, I think the presidential election is mostly a waste of time. Either one gets elected, I don't, big deal. I think Trump would be funny if he got elected. Trump would be great for radio. Hillary would too be great for radio. But you know what? The main reason, and this is serious, the main reason I don't really want Clinton to get elected is because her name is hard for me to say. Hillary Clinton is a hard name for me to say. Donald Trump is not. I can say Donald Trump all day. Hillary Clinton, though, it starts to sort of slur together. You're like, Hillary Clinton. It's not working out for me. Plus, Clinton is pro-abortion, which is something that I find morally reprehensible. So obviously I cannot support Clinton. But you can make arguments, too, about Trump backpedaling on different things. I don't know. I don't follow everything they say very closely, I will admit. I don't follow every gaffe they make. But this one made the media headlines pretty significantly, too. The woman's card is something that apparently Donald Trump brought up. And Hillary Clinton has seized that as a campaign opportunity. She's now offering her donors official woman cards. And Trump has been doubling down in his comments about Clinton, too, by the way, because it's not just Donald Trump and Ted Cruz anymore. It's Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, because if Donald Trump wants the nomination, he's got to start making some remarks about Clinton. Now, that's not to say he hasn't before, because he has talked about the emails. He's called her crooked before, and that's good. Good for him. But, you know, if you're making a presidential campaign, you have to say something about the other side, right? I think it's funny he was talking about supporting Bernie as a third party because that would split the vote. And hey, why not? Really, I don't like socialists. I don't like commies. I don't like neocons either. I'm sort of down the middle of the road. No, I'm not down the middle. I'm on my own road. There are a few people on my road, but my road is sparsely populated, which is the most hipster way to describe my political opinion. I don't like Republicans. I really don't like Democrats. I don't like socialists. I really don't like communists. I like capitalism. I don't like crony capitalism. I don't like corporate communism. I don't like government being involved in capitalism. I really like people being able to do whatever the heck they want inside moral limits. I don't really like it when government tries to tell you what to do. So what's my opinion? It varies on a lot of stuff. I switch around sometimes. By Thursday, Clinton's campaign is now offering new donors official woman cards, and Trump was doubling down in his comments, dismissing her. This is from the Boston Globe, by the way. The primary thing that she has going on is that she's a woman, he said on the Today Show. And she's playing that card like I've never seen anybody play it before. In this funhouse mirror of an election, both sides claim to look good. Now, okay, let's look at this, though. Hold on a second. Yeah, she is saying that she's a woman. She does bring that up sometimes because she's campaigning. And Trump talks about how he's a businessman all the time. He talks about how he's a successful business person. Clinton talks about her experience being the Secretary of State. And these are all things that anyone who's been in those positions and are campaigning for president are going to do. And the attacks against Clinton and the attacks against Trump are also things that anyone who's running a campaign are going to do. It's to be expected. This is all a big game. I mean, not in the literal sense, but there are stakes, obviously. But when it comes down to the word play and when it comes down to the strategy, it's very much in a lot of ways similar to a game. And it's just they're playing the game with rhetoric. And Clinton's got the woman card because Trump gave her a line. You know, basically that's what it is. Trump makes a statement about the woman card. Maybe he shouldn't have. He can say what he wants. You know, anybody can say what they want. Maybe he shouldn't have said what he said. Okay, but he did. And so now Clinton has a foothold with the woman card thing because now she can bring that up. And now she's offering donors official woman cards. Something that I saw I believe it was the New York Times talk about something kind of weird, which is this. The woman card can be displayed purportedly if, let's see, I'll read it verbatim for you from the American Mirror. The woman card, they claim, we've been hearing from supporters all over the country that they'd like a woman card of their very own to display proudly on a fridge or to pull out of their wallet every time they run into someone who says women who support Hillary must not be using their brains. Now, and I hate stuff like this. What would it mean to a Trump supporter if you're walking down the street and I don't know why he knows that you're a Hillary Clinton supporter, maybe you're wearing a Hillary t-shirt or something, and this Trump supporter or maybe even a Cruz supporter, I don't know, says, hey, you know, I can't believe you're voting for Clinton. You must be brain dead or something. To which you pull out a card and say, well, look here, I've got the woman card. What? Okay. That just proves my point. Goodbye. You know, right? It doesn't work as a political statement. It doesn't work. It's the least counterculture thing I've ever seen. It's the worst. In terms of symbolism, it just doesn't work. Because he's making the argument that she keeps pulling the woman card, and then she distributes literally the woman card. Now, again, I'm not saying Donald Trump is perfect, and I'm not even saying I necessarily endorse him, because I really don't. I think John McAfee's obviously the best. But no, what are you doing here? This happens all the time. You remember the guy who jumped on stage? I think he was a Bernie supporter. I don't know. Trump has been getting a lot of violent attention, too. You notice the guy who jumped up on stage to try to tell people that Donald Trump was a racist. I can't remember his name. I believe it was Damasio. It was an Italian name. I remember that much. But again, what does that prove? If you jump up on a stage and start yelling things at people who are supporting this guy, what does that prove to anybody? Like, let's say you're at this Trump rally. Some guy jumps up on stage. Everyone's really kind of shocked. Some guy jumps up on stage, grabs the mic. Hey, Trump is a racist. Trump is a racist. And then he gets dragged off. What's that proving to anybody? That you're nuts? That Bernie supporters are nuts? What are you proving here? And you can go both ways, too. I see lots of stupid Trump supporters all the time. You know, I see lots of people with dumb things they say on Facebook and on Twitter. It goes both ways. It's not that I'm beating up on, well, I am beating up on Clinton, and I am beating up on Sanders, and I'm kind of beating up on Trump, too, because they all deserve it. Listen, they're running for president. When you're running for president, you shouldn't pull any punches on the guy. Right? This guy's running in the most important, supposedly, office in the federal level, right? On the federal level. I note that because the most important actually where you are is the sheriff, but he's running in the most important position on the federal level. The guy should be beaten up a little bit in terms of verbiage, right? I mean, the guy's running for the most important office. People perceive it that way. Yeah, you should kind of beat him up when it comes to rhetoric, when it comes to discourse and debate, because he's going to get beaten up on the international stage too. You think domestic is mean? Talk about international. Right? I mean, come on. That's just how it is. So I have no problem with a lot of the rhetoric that goes out against both sides, because people are going to be mean and nasty in the real world. If you can't handle it during the campaign, how are you going to handle it when you're actually president? And that goes for both sides. So I think the discourse is good. The woman card thing, it fails as a political message. She could have done a much better job with that, and I'm not really surprised she didn't, quite honestly. I don't know how she's going to handle the whole server problem. She's probably going to ignore it. I don't know how Trump is going to handle questions about whatever people are going to ask him about, because no one knows how Trump is going to handle anything. He's a loose cannon. That's why people like him. He's a loose cannon. He's crazy in a sort of crazy like a fox sort of sense. And that's why people like him. Number to call in is 423-800-8949. That's 423-800-8949 is the number to call in here at Hot News Talk Radio. But you know what? The point of the matter is, once you get elected in an office, you're fed. I'm going to have to not like you because you're a Fed now. That's just how it is. Once, you know, I might love you when you're running for president, but as soon as you're in the office, you're a Fed now. I can't like you. I can't trust you. You're a Fed now. You're part of the system. I can't trust anybody who's in that position. That's just how it is. Sorry, guys. If you run for a position and you're in the federal government, you're part of that system now. I can't trust you. I can't believe anything you say. It could have been fed to you from a teleprompter. I don't know. Who knows how these things work? Well, there's an investigation now into one of the best polymaths, a person who's very talented at basically everything. Instruments, guitars of all sorts, every single instrument you could ever name. Excellent musician. Prince, of course, died, I believe, either this week or last week. It was a few days ago. And now the investigation into Prince's death has taken an odd turn. Yesterday, there's indications now that the megastar's collapse on April the 21st is now the focus of a criminal probe. Criminal probe meaning possibly he wasn't the only person in the elevator when he collapsed, perhaps. In a 3-page incident report, the Carver County Sheriff's Office cited an exception to Minnesota public records laws that allows it to suppress information relating to a criminal probe in deciding to release only scant information about the 911 response to the Paisley Park complex in Chanhassen that morning. The law says that investigative data collected or created by a law enforcement agency in order to prepare a case against a person, whether known or unknown, for the commission of a crime or other offense for which the agency has primary investigative responsibility are controversial, or are confidential, I should say, or protected non-public while the investigation is active. Basically, that's a bunch of legalese for if the cops don't want you to see it and it's a criminal investigation, they can suppress it. The exception citation doesn't mean that criminal charges are going to be filed at the completion of the sheriff's inquiry, only that charges are a possibility. Now, this could just be a preemptive measure. This could just be a cautionary thing. But still, it does raise some questions about Prince's death. And I'm not saying anything one way or the other. It just raises questions, and questions always need to be asked. If you know the truth, you'll have no problem answering questions. Right? Like if I'm telling you the truth about something, you can ask me as many questions as you want about it. I'll tell you my car is a silver car. You can ask me as many questions as you want about my silver car. You ask me as many questions as you want. Silver colored, obviously. It's not a literally silver car. Ask me any question you want about my car. I'll answer it as truthfully as I can, as far as my knowledge goes. If I'm lying about something and you ask me as many questions as that, I would start to get kind of annoyed, right? Anybody would. We've all been in that position. So you should ask as many questions as you possibly can with the federal government because they have a responsibility to answer them most of the time. Most of the time. Sources with direct knowledge of the case have told the Star Tribune, which I know is not the most reputable source ever, that they are investigating whether an overdose of opioids led to Prince's death. Prescription pills were found at Paisley Park, but sources have said that it was unclear whether they were prescribed to Prince. As part of the probe, investigators also are determining how Prince got the pills and who may have provided them, because who knows? It's all very strange. The death of Prince is something that we're probably going to be reading conspiracy theories about for the next 10 years. Think about Michael Jackson, right? And let me throw something out here, too, about Michael Jackson. I will admit, I thoroughly believe there's something that we don't know about the death of Michael Jackson. And I know that sounds crazy, but I thoroughly believe it. Pardon me. Throat's dry today. It's one of those days, you know. I thoroughly believe there's something about Michael Jackson's death that we don't know. And I will carry that to my grave. I will always think that. And maybe Prince will be another one of those things. Here's a weird one. North Korea itself, the government, has sentenced an American to hard labor. And North Korea is one of those conundrums, by the way. North Korea is one of those things where it's not like you can, okay, let's try to put this into terms, because I've read a lot about North Korea, and I've read a lot of theories about what to do about North Korea. North Korea, by the way, has sentenced a U.S. citizen of Korean heritage to 10 years in prison after convicting him of espionage and subversion. He's the second American now to be put behind bars this year. Kim Dong-chul has been detained in the North on suspicion of engaging in spying and stealing state secrets. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison with hard labor after a brief trial in Pyongyang. North Korea's Supreme Court found Kim, I'm surprised they have one. North Korea's Supreme Court found Kim guilty of crimes and espionage and subversion of under Articles 60 and 64 of the North's Criminal Code. And believe it or not, the North Koreans are very serious about criminal code. They don't mess around with that. Further details were not immediately available. South Korea's National Intelligence Service, the country's main spy agency, has said that Kim's case wasn't related to the organization in any way. Now, that doesn't mean that it wasn't. It just means they're saying it wasn't, because we all know how spy organizations go. But this raises the question. He is an American citizen. What do we do about it? He's an American citizen who's now been sentenced to 10 years hard labor. We know how bad 10 years hard labor is in North Korea. We know how bad their judicial system is. We have heard how bad their concentration camps are in North Korea, their labor camps. Hard labor for this American. We know how bad that can be. We've talked to people who have been through that. There have been interviews with people who have been through that. So this being the case, why is America allowing that? Is probably the first question you're asking when you hear about this. Why would America allow this? But then again, what does America do about this? And this is where the conundrum rises. What does America do about this situation where this American citizen, possibly unjustly, I would say probably unjustly, sentenced to 10 years hard labor because they think he was spying, stealing state secrets, which is apparently a criminal thing in North Korea, believe it or not. Surprise, right? So what do you do about it? Here's the thing. It's not like we can just go to outright war with North Korea, because there's a lot of problems that would arise from that. And it's not like we could just outright say, hey, North Korea, give us back our American citizen. You probably could, but you wouldn't get very far with that. They just say no. And North Korea is always making, saber rattling, whatever. I don't think North Korea actually has any intentions of firing any missiles at anybody except for South Korea. Getting involved with America, they know, would be a death sentence. So they saber rattle a lot, but I don't think they'll follow through with much of anything ever. They're crazy, but I don't think they're that crazy. It's like Iran. Some of the guys in Iran are nuts, but I don't think they're nuts enough to actually bomb Israel or to actually try to bomb the U.S. Because, yeah, they're crazy, but everyone has a sense of self-preservation. These aren't the crazy suicide bombing guys. These are the crazy government-involved guys, right? These are the crazy guys who want to make a lot of money in the state and want to have a lot of power in the state without having to die in the process. And they know if you go to war with America, you're going to die, because that's just what happens when you go to war with America. That's one thing that we are very good at, is war. Look at all the wars we fought. Now, yes, strategy sometimes is pretty dang bad, but when it comes to the actual fighting of the war, we're really good, and we're top class. And Iran is not. North Korea has a very large military, but does it have top-tier strategy? Does it have top-tier equipment? No. Not even China can boast that. And China really pumps its numbers up quite a lot, by the way, when it comes to China's military. Because to be a member of the Chinese military, it's not like you have to go through intensive high-class training, because you don't. It's actually very interesting. You should read into China's military. By the way, just to throw this out there, and I know we're getting way off track, to throw this out there, the country of China, like the state China, does not own the Chinese military. The Chinese Communist Party owns the Chinese military. It doesn't belong to the people. It's the people's army, whatever. Every communist thing says it's the people's whatever. But this is the Chinese Communist Party's army. It swears allegiance to the Communist Party, not to the country of China, not to the people of China. It's the Chinese Communist Party's army. That's like if the Republican Party had its own army. That's nuts. That's like if the Democratic Party had its own army. Crazy. It never would happen, hopefully. But China does. And a lot of other countries are like that too. The Russians were like that as well during the communist days. You had party-owned entities. You had a party-owned military. The Nazis were like that as well. This is not anything new. It happens all the time. It's a very disturbing thing to see, though. Very interesting. And I worry that perhaps we're heading that way with the institution of a draft for women. Again, I throw back to that. The whole idea of a draft for women is just so reprehensible. I can't even... Ugh. Insurers are set to jack up health insurance, according to our Twitter account. Go to Hot News Talk Radio on Twitter. This is Best Shot, your show here in Chattanooga. Call-in lines 423-800-8949. I got a bit of a hang in my throat because it's spring and there's pollen everywhere and it's dry and it's terrible. I'm sorry. 423-800-8949 is the number to call in. You can also get us on the TuneIn Radio app for your smartphone. That's TuneIn Radio on your smartphone. Search for Hot News Talk Radio. You can listen to us there. Go to Twitter, go to Facebook. You can search for us there. You'll find us pretty easily. Insurers are going to be seeking significant premium hikes under Obama's Affordable Health Care Act. I'll be kind and call it that, not Obamacare. Stiff medicine for consumers and voters ahead of the political conventions are what we are facing, making people potentially more angry with the Democratic Party. Expect the state-by-state premium requests to reflect what insurers see as the bottom line. The healthcare has been a financial drain for many companies, and they're setting the stage for 2017 hikes, which could reach well into the double digits in some cases. For example, Virginia, a state that reports early, 9 insurers returning to the healthcare.gov marketplace are seeking average premium increases that range from 9.4% to 37.1%. Those initial estimates filed with the state may change. Now, I'll oversimplify things by saying this. Obamacare has essentially made healthcare more expensive in this regard. It really has. And yeah, you can make arguments for universal healthcare. They're all wrong, but you can. But the whole idea of universal healthcare fails in one regard, in one way. And socialism will always fail because of this one factor. The state cannot set market prices. It can't. The state cannot set market prices unless the state has a monopoly over the production of something on a worldwide scale, on an international scale. The state cannot set the market price for something. It can't. So you have this idea of healthcare, and insurers are just going to say, yeah, we're not going to raise our prices, or providers of equipment are going to say, yeah, we're not going to raise our prices. They're going to make more money. They're going to say, well, we're going to raise our prices because we're being charged more because of Obamacare. That's how it works. That's how economics work. Insert socialism and communism all you want. Economic rules stay the same. It's always going to work that way. If you try to charge more for something, you're going to be asked for more money. Simple as that, right? It's simple stuff. It's economic. You should learn this in high school. For some reason, I guess both Barack Obama and all the people who voted for Universal Health Care Act never learned these basic economics, but whatever. It's ridiculous, too, that people would argue for it. And you know what it is? Really what it is it's lazy millennials and lazy 50-somethings, for the most part, who really want this whole idea of universal health care because they don't like the idea of working for something in most regards. They don't like the idea of working towards something. I want to be able to sit on my fat butt, watch TV, and get stuff for free. I like that idea. I'm not going to say that's unattractive to me. It is very attractive to me. But I know that it's wrong because I'd be taking money from someone else. You're taking money from other people. Social Security, you're taking money from other people. You collect benefits, you're taking money from other people. Other people have filed their tax returns for some reason. They've given state income tax for some reason. They're doing their whole state sales tax. There's tariffs, all sorts of different things that go into this. It's not like it's free because nothing is free. Free implies without cost. There still is a cost. You're paying a higher tax, right? Bernie Sanders' plan, you'd be paying higher taxes. How can you say it's free? You're paying more money. You're paying more money for it. It's not free. Under no stretch of the imagination is it free. Quit using the stupid word free. It's like free college, but you got to pay more taxes. It's not free. Under no stretch of the imagination is anything like this free. No social program is free. It doesn't work that way. Free means no cost, and there is always cost. There's labor, there's expenses, there's paying for all your employees, there's paying for the company, there's paying for everything else. There's always money. There's always cost. Nothing is free. No such thing as a free lunch. It doesn't happen. There's no such thing as free. It just doesn't happen. We can talk all day and theorize all day about it. Well, we all have a right to health care, but it's not going to be free. You argue all day that we have a right to health care. Fine. You can believe that. I don't, but you can believe that. But don't call it free because it's never going to be, because it doesn't work that way. Economics don't work that way. Never have, never will. 10 Care is not free. Universal Health Care Act is not free. This is Best Shot here on Hot News Talk Radio. Sorry to end on a glum note. Colin Cowherd is up next here on Hot News Talk Radio, AM 1240, hotnewstalkradio.com. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook.